Aloha! Welcome back to the UH Manoa Library's Data Management and Sharing Training course. This time I'll be talking to you about types of data and metadata so that you can distinguish the various forms that data will take and what is required for each one. The goal of this module is to help you identify the roles of these different types of elements that you'll be working with, data, background data, or metadata in your research. And we'll talk about the main metadata elements that are often used to describe data and how to find them and describe your data with them. So first off, let's talk about types of data. We've mentioned this briefly before, but to go over it again, research data can take many forms. It can be audio or visual, text, numeric. It can come from many sources. It can be obtained via interviews or biomedical experiments. It can be computer simulations. It can also be primary or secondary. It can be generated directly by the researcher or obtained through data sharing. In all cases, research data itself consists of the raw measurements that are used to support research findings. But research data for the purposes of sharing will also include the analysis code to understand that data and background data such as variable names, README files, or anything that will put that data into context and is necessary to make it understandable. Research records are a different story. These consist of administrative information such as email correspondences about the project or institutional documentation like IRB approvals or other such records. And they're covered in this course because they are important to manage well. They are certainly an integral part of the project, but they are different in that they are generally not shared as part of the research data. And finally, metadata, or the data about data, consists of descriptions of the characteristics of data rather than the content. So, as I mentioned, background data provides the context for your primary research data to be meaningful. Examples might include information such as the temperature at the time of a sensor reading, or the specific parameters that are used during an experiment that will tell you the context of what those raw measurements mean. And they should be included as part of the research data set that will be included for sharing, unlike research records. And lastly, metadata is also most important for data sharing. You may not need to worry about this as much for your data management purposes, but there is some usefulness for it, especially for large projects, for helping you keep track of file types, who authors various data files, and when dates are created. Metadata is often formalized and used with a metadata schema in mind. For instance, one common metadata schema is called the Dublin Core and consists of a number of required data elements such as the title, subject, description, creator, publisher, date, type, or format of the file. And one important thing to keep in mind with these metadata schema is that many of these elements are drawn from a controlled vocabulary of standard terms. And knowing this can be useful to you as you create your schema, as you create your management schemes. For instance, the type in Dublin Core is drawn from the DCMI type vocabulary, which will help you, when you use your metadata, be interoperable with other researchers and help with submission to data repositories. Thank you very much.